Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cascadia and Swinger. I'm Eddie Smith. Unfortunately, John will not be with us today as we could not get our schedules to collaborate again. But with Seattle and LA getting ready to face off and Portland and Dallas just ending their match, we need to get you ready for what's coming up. These playoffs have been crazy so far to the point that I'm thinking about talking to John about doing another segment where we talk about matches and players and highlights from outside of Cascadia, just to kind of give you that perspective. So if you like that idea, put it in the comments and tell us what you think. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because we had a crazy match down in Orlando earlier with Orlando City SC and NYCFC in a match that just had everything. To the point that the Orlando goalkeeper ends up getting sent off during PKs, getting a second yellow for jumping off the line just a little early to make what everyone thought was the game winning save. That ends up getting called back, and he ends up getting his second yellow for jumping early. And that sent everyone into mass confusion. Orlando tries subbing in their backup goalkeeper Rowe, who ends up getting all the way to the line, ready to make that save or getting ready to take that kick. Um, but just before the kick is made, head ref pulls him because in the rules, once the match is over, PKs do not extend the match. The match is over, and you cannot make any more subs. So that means that one of the field players had to get in goal and finish the PKs for Orlando. He ends up making an unbelievable save to help propel Orlando to the second round of these playoffs. So craziness down in Orlando. But we're not here to talk about Orlando. We're not here to talk about the Eastern Conference. We're here to talk Cascadia soccer. And so let's go down to Portland where the Timbers were facing FC Dallas. And I don't regret what I said in the last episode. I said that this was essentially Portland's match to lose, and I stick by that. Uh, at the start of this match, it even looked like Portland was going to just take it to Dallas. They were on the full out attack, and it wasn't until the 30th minute that things looked a little off. In the 30th minute, Francisco Jara was able to get past the Portland defense and score what seemed to be the opening goal of this match. But due to VAR, it was determined that he was a couple feet offside, and the goal was called back. But that being said, it stuck in the Portland defensive mind that they need to play a little bit more defensive. They can't be as attacking as they had been because they didn't want that to happen again. And from that point on, Portland did not look like the same team. And things just kind of deteriorated from there. As in the 45th minute, Williamson ends up going down with an injury and has to be replaced just before halftime. Now, um, some fans might think, hey, you need to wait until halftime to make that substitution, especially with the MLS having their substitution windows being so crucial, and halftime not counting as one of those windows. At least you'd be able to get Williamson in there, determine whether he could go on or not. If he couldn't, then sub him there. That way you don't burn a window. But with 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, it was one of those situations of, do you want to risk being down a player for 3 minutes and potentially expose yourself? Now, Williamson is such a crucial piece to this Portland squad, and it makes me wonder if he was able to continue on in this match, what would have happened? I kind of feel like with Williamson on the field, not only would have Portland got that first goal, but I almost feel like Portland would have gotten second goal in this match and potentially kept Dallas off the board. He's that crucial of a player in my eyes. That was not the case though, but in the 82nd minute, it almost looked like it wasn't going to matter as Villafania of all the players on the pitch, who hadn't scored in 5 years, who just scored his first goal in 5 years on decision day against LAFC, ends up scoring his second consecutive goal in consecutive matches, this time in the playoffs. And in my eyes, I'm thinking that's probably going to be enough to win this match. And even better, Villafania now scoring, that's going to give Portland just another attacking piece to what is already a very broad amount of players that are scoring goals for the Timbers. Unfortunately, Dallas had other plans. In the 3rd minute of added time, just before the game went final, Clark, trying to delay the match a little bit, sends a goal kick to midfield, ends up going off of a Dallas head to another Dallas player, who ends up passing it to Ricardo Pepe, who gets behind the Portland defense and fires it initially at the post. It rings off the post, and then another unfortunate event for the Timbers, it goes right back to his feet, and he buries it in the back of the net, sending this match to extra time. Just a series of unfortunate events for the Timbers. So I'm going to skip extra time, as there wasn't really much to talk about for this one. I will say, though, John admitted to turning off the game in the 90th minute. He had no clue about this game going into PKs. So in the comments, definitely get on him about that. So again, this match goes into PKs, and the first 15 men on both sides score. You were getting veteran players, you were getting new players. Some players, this was one of their first times being in the first team. You had young players. There was a 17-year-old on Dallas that ends up going up and scoring his PK like a veteran. Just unbelievable from the spot from both sides, all the way until Villafania. Now, Villafania in a previous PK situation had missed his PK, so he was definitely looking for some redemption for that. Unfortunately for him, his PK ends up getting saved on the line, and that ends up sending Dallas to the next round. Just an unfortunate situation for Portland, and ends their season. So that being said, I'm not going to dwell too much on Portland. We will talk about the wrap up for their season once the playoffs are over. But now the playoffs all hinge on Seattle carrying the Cascadia flag. And this match couldn't be more exciting, I think. It's a rematch of last year's Western Conference final that was down in LA, where Seattle won the match 3-1 to the tune of a brace from Rui Diaz. And yeah, I don't see this match being any less exciting, except for the fact that there's going to be no fans in the stands. But this match is going to be in Seattle at the newly named Lumen Field. Seattle is going to be virtually with everyone. I say virtually because there was an unfortunate circumstance where one player did come down with COVID. It hasn't been named who. I will get into that in a little bit. Both sides not coming into this match particularly in great form, I'd say. There's a little bit of me that wants to say that Seattle's coming into a little bit better form, though they only had one win in the last 6 matches before going into the decision day match against San Jose, where they ended up winning 4-1. LAFC, on the other hand, been struggling all season, showed some glimpses of their previous Supporters Shield winning season, but never really enough. LA ends up getting the 7th seed which is very weird. They are not your typical 7th-seeded team for the playoffs. And Seattle knows that. They're definitely giving LA the respect for what they deserve. One note that Seattle needs to be aware of is Vela is healthy again. He started his first match of the season since coming off of injury on decision day against Portland, where he ended up scoring a goal early in that match as well. But LAFC is going to be missing some key players. They're missing 4 players from the international break who came down with COVID. Rossi, Palacios, Rodriguez, and Confuentes are all out with COVID and will not be available for this match. In fact, Bob Bradley will probably be leaning on his 16-year-old Christian Torres to fill the role of Rodriguez and Rossi. That's a lot of pressure to put on a 16-year-old. But Bradley will be hoping that he can provide some sort of attack. And if he's able to score a goal, he will become the 4th team in these playoffs to score a goal. And on top of that, he'd also be the youngest to score the goal. Other players that Seattle needs to watch out for, because even though there are 4 players out, there are 5 players to watch out for that I have listed here. Torres being one, Bradley Wright Phillips, Vela, Atuesta, and in the back you got Blackman, who is a very attacking, who can be an attacking defender, who I've seen put in some nice crosses into the box. So all guys that Seattle needs to be aware of. That being said, I think Seattle can take care of business. Right now, LAFC leads the all-time series with Seattle with 4 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. But also, Seattle leads the series in Seattle. So that is good news right there. Also, this season, the 2 teams had faced off 3 times in the regular season, 1 time in the MIB tournament. Twice was in Seattle, where Seattle ended up winning those matches. Lost their 1 time down in LA, and also lost in the round of 16 to LAFC down in Florida for that tournament 4-1. I don't think that match really has anything to play into this. And I don't think the 3 matches during the regular season are going to really play into this one as well. Playoffs are a whole different format. But I'm going to say Seattle wins this one 3-2. I'm going to say Vela ends up getting a goal for LA. And you know what? Actually, I was about ready to say Torres was going to get the second goal, but I'm going to say Bradley Wright Phillips will get the second goal for LA. On the Seattle side, I'm going to say Rui Diaz scores a brace again. And I think that Ladero might get a goal off of a set piece in this one. That all being said, this match is definitely going to be a close one, extremely close, to the point that I could see this going into extra time. Do I want to see that? No. But I can definitely see that with how good these 2 sides are. I think that's going to do it. That's all my notes. Again, this match is going to be on ESPN at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time at the newly named Lumen Field in Seattle. Definitely catch this one. It's going to be a fun one. And as always, go Cascadia.